Holy hot dad summer fantasy football fans. August is approaching, and that means we no longer have to suck it in at the pool. Well, I guess Fee, you do because your summer is still going. But we
Still
can let
going.
ourselves go pretty soon over buffalo wings and nachos every Sunday until February. Welcome back to Three and Out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Wayne Cavati, and joining me are your favorite fantasy football dads, Mike the Professor Dutton and Chris FanDuel Fee Fiamano. Gentlemen, not to infringe on copyrights, but are you ready for some football? Fee.
Yeah, man, I'm ready. I know we still have another, 6 weeks
Yeah, yeah.
probably before actual football happens. But yeah, no, I'm pumped to talk about a little preseason football.
Dutton, how you doing?
I start open house for school tomorrow. Students come on Monday. I need something to do on Thursday nights when I'm grading papers and lesson plans. Bring on football. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, tonight pretty much starts season 6 of the Three and Out podcast. We're gonna slow roll into the season every other week, until the end of August, and that's when we'll be on your YouTube and Spotify every week until Fee mysteriously disappears again, like he did last year, and we don't have a final episode by mistake. But we're ready to go. Today we're gonna have just a little fun. We're gonna have a quick little podcast to get back and rolling and get our voices ready and our brains rolling for the season. So we're gonna start with some over unders on team wins. We're gonna zip through all 30 teams, but a few of them we're gonna kind of break down and take a closer look at. So Jutton, you're gonna get us started, gentlemen. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the team name and I'm gonna tell you the over under and wins, and then you tell me over or under unless I ask you a question about the team. Dutton, get us started with Arizona Cardinals, 8.5 wins this season. What do we think?
Under.
Under for Dutton. Fee.
Over.
I am going with Team Fee. I am over on the Arizona Cardinals this year. Atlanta Falcons, the over under for wins is 7.5. Fee, start with you.
I'm going over.
I'm going over and
Clean sweep. Over.
clean sweep over. Okay, so here's the first question I have. We're at Baltimore Ravens, 11.5 wins. It's a 17-game season. So to win 12, you are the one of the elite teams. For Baltimore, it's basically been rinse, wash, repeat, and they are one of those elite teams. But how confident, gentlemen, are you in this team to get to 12 wins? We have an aging Derrick Henry. Lamar Jackson has played 2 full seasons in a row, and that never happened. So that scares me a little bit. And I'm still not the hugest fan of that wide receiving core. The AFC South North, I'm sorry, is kind of tough. What do we think? 12 wins? Fee.
Uh, so I'm going under, and I think it's because I think 12 wins is a lot. I still think they're an elite team. I just don't think they get up to 12. Maybe they get 11, maybe they get 10. They probably make the playoffs, maybe as a wild card, maybe as a division winner. But I don't think they'll get to 12 wins. I do like their team that, they're still very good. But like you said, there's a lot of question marks there. Mark Andrews is on the other side now, I think. Derrick Henry is getting up there in age and mileage. Um, and yeah, their wide receiving core is suspect for sure. So 12 wins seems like a lot.
Dutton?
10. No, hold on. 11 wins is under of
Yeah.
11 and a half, and 11 and 6 is what I see them at. I think they're in a tough division. I think their schedule's hard.
Yeah.
They opened the season with the Bills in Buffalo, the last home opener in that new stadium until their new stadium. So that's going to be a hard game. So, yeah, you said it all, Wayne. You got to worry about aging Henry. You got to worry about Lamar getting possibly hurt. He talked about Mark Andrews the last time he went to Buffalo. He was not a very good tight end.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they really did anything to improve their wide receivers. So, yeah, 11 wins is still a good team. It's just
Yeah.
not
Oh, for sure.
right. So
Yeah, I went under two. I think they're a 10 or 11 win team. It's just getting to that 12 mark. I think you are like the best of the best in the NFL. And if they stay healthy, they're a 13, 14 win team, to be honest. But there's a lot of what ifs on that team, especially when DeAndre Hopkins is your wide receiver one and is 54 years old now. So
The AFC North is pretty suspect.
yeah, there's a lot of question marks. We'll get to some of them as we go along. The next team, we're at 11.5 wins again, is Buffalo. So we're going to look at Buffalo. They play in a weaker division. The Jets didn't do much to improve. The Dolphins are just wild, and the Patriots, even if they improve by 100%, they're still not a good team. We know how I feel about Josh Allen, and I'm going to tell you last year, and I said it that I was completely impressed. I think it was his best season. And the impressive part about that was it was easily his weakest wide receiver core, right? But his interceptions were down and his fumbles were down and his accuracy was up. And that's what I've always made fun of him for. So it was impressive. So I guess Dutton will go to you over under 11 and a half wins. They didn't really improve that wide receiver room all that much.
I mean, they actually lost Mac Hollins, who was their largest touchdown
Yeah,
production, right? But 12 wins is more than 11 and a half. They're going to go 5-1 in their division.
yeah.
They're going to get 7 more wins throughout the rest of their schedule. I mean, like I said, 12-5, again, you're still a really good team, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I have them over.
Fee.
Yeah, I think that everything that Dutton said, I think they're one of those elite teams. Their division is terrible. And that's kind of putting it lightly. But Josh Allen is obviously very good, and I think that he leads them to another 12 win or more season.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Really quick, Wayne.
yeah.
Like talking about their division, because like somebody I saw the other day was like, well, of course the Bills are good. Look at their division. Well, I mean, I'm not a Bills fan, but I'll defend the Bills for my wife. Like, why wasn't that said about the Patriots for how many years in a row? Because
Yeah.
that division was awful for how
Yeah.
long, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think the Jets purposely blew up their team to be bad this year. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think they're in a rebuilding, so they won't
Yeah.
be bad.
For sure. Um, they do along with that conference schedule, they have the AFC and the NFC South this year. So you got the Saints, you got the Jaguars. You got even my Texans. I think the Bills are probably better than the Texans. Always find a way to beat them because Josh Allen usually makes a mistake, but
Yeah.
eventually that's going to catch up to them. So you got two favorable other leagues on there, divisions on there. I think there may be a 14-win team if we're being honest. Moving on, I want to talk about Carolina real quick. 6.5. I'm going to tell you they're going to be way over. I don't know why I'm so high on them. They improved their defense. I like the wide receiver room. Bryce Young was great down the stretch. Well, good. Maybe not great. And the Saints and Falcons, the Saints, they're playing for the top draft pick, I think. And the Falcons have a lot of question marks. I think the Panthers can make a run at the wild card because I think they're going to fall into a lot of wins. So 6.5, I'm going over. Fee, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going over too. And exactly like you just said, their wide receiver room has gotten so much better, right? They drafted Ted McMillan. They still have Coker. They picked up Hunter Renfro, right?
Yeah,
I know he's coming off a year where he didn't play, but still, I mean, you still got Thielen, Xavier Legette, and Chuba Hubbard is still going to be a solid running back, right?
yeah.
Especially for fantasy. So I think they go over their 6.5. Yeah.
Dutton, you're back
Yeah,
in
they're
the team.
they're in my backyard here. I mean, I think they're the biggest competition to the Bucks this year in that division. I know a lot of people are talking about the Falcons, but I think Wayne, you said it all. I think the Panthers, and let's be honest, they're playing a last place schedule,
Yeah,
right? That means they get a lot of favorable matchups. Like they'll get those 2 games against 2 really bad teams from
yeah,
last year. So
yeah. All right, so we're all over there. Chicago, the Bears are at 8.5. This is the Ben Johnson effect? Dutton,
under because 8 and 9.
nice. Fee,
Chicago, I'm going under. Yeah.
I'm going under as well. Cincinnati Bengals, 9.5. Fee,
I'm gonna go under.
Dutton,
Under.
I think they have 9 wins, so I'm going under. Browns, Fee, you are this outlier here. I said we're going to zip through a lot of these teams and not talk about them, but I got to know, how do you think this team is going to win 5 games?
uh,
He has the
be-
Browns at over 5 win or four and a
Oh,
half.
4.5. I'm sorry, I forgot to say four
Four
and
and
a
a
half.
half
So
is the
he is
Browns.
it's
He has
4.5, so they got to win 5, and I think that's exactly why. It's because I just think that they can somehow finagle 5
out
wins.
5.
I do. Yeah.
I don't know. I think they might be a 2-win team. So I went under. Dutton.
Yeah, under. I mean, I don't know. I think, yeah, under. Just go under. Tough
Uh,
division, bad team. Yeah.
We're gonna get into Dallas a little bit later in the show, so I didn't highlight them. So, Fee, your division rival, Dallas
Yeah,
Cowboys, 7.5 over or under.
I'm going under. And let me just really quick. I just think it's because there's so much drama in
Jerry, there's too much
Dallas.
Jerry in Dallas when he's
There's
already
too
telling
much
us he's not
everything.
signing Micah
There's
Parsons and he feels
there's
bad
just
about signing Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
there's just too much everything in Dallas, and I just I don't know. I just have a feeling they go under this year.
gotten.
Over.
I'm going. I said I was torn. I think they either win 7 games or they win 8 games. So this is a really
That's
hard
why I said
spot.
over because I would have them going 8 and 9.
Yeah, I just can't picture the Cowboys not winning 8 games. So I'm going to go over, but barely. Detroit, what kind of show is this if we don't talk about the Detroit Lions on three and out? So
You're the oddball, so you can talk.
Yep.
okay, you want me to start? Over or under is 10.5. I have them winning 11 games. Um, I don't know. They didn't get infinitely better per se. Like they didn't bring in a lot of new faces, but their entire defense was banged up at the end of last year. And if they're healthy, they were the best team in football until they lost all of the Anzalone and all, every one of them went down week after week after week. And if they're back healthy, I get that there's new coordinators, but I still think that they get to 11 wins. I still think they're one of the elite teams in the NFL. And I think their head coach is nuts in the best way possible for that team. Even though he does cost some games, I think overall he does the right thing. So, Dutton,
I'm going under, and it's because of why I have the next team over.
okay.
Well, I'm going under, and it's just because I think they only get to 10 and not to 11.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to be as dominant as they were last year. And yes, I know they have very much the same team as they did last year. There are guys coming off injuries. There is continuity kind of issue with not having the same coordinators, although they did kind of hire from within, so it should be okay. I just don't see them being as dominant. I think that other teams' defenses end up catching up to you, especially after a full year of seeing what you're gonna do. So they're still a good team. They'll still make the playoffs. I just think they get to 10 instead of 11.
Fair enough. I just think they have like 5 elite NFL football players on their team, and that kind of team wins a lot of football games. All right, so the next team is the Green Bay Packers. Dutton.
So the Packers are 9.5, and the
Oh, 9.5. Sorry.
we're 10.5. So I have the Packers at over at 10-7, and the Lions under at 10-7, and yet somehow the Packers being division champs because of a tiebreak. So that's how I have it in my head.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm going over for Green Bay also. I think they have a solid team. I think they put it together this year. And also because I think Detroit goes 10-7, I think Green Bay probably also does too. So it'll be an interesting division race.
okay, I'm going under. We could talk about that in a little bit. It fits perfectly into another part of the show. My Houston Texans, the win total is 9.5. I went barely over, meaning I think that's what I wrote there. I think they're getting 10 wins, so I'm going over. Dutton,
9 wins. Division winners at 9 wins.
division winners at 9 wins, so you're going under. Fee.
Yeah, I'm going over because I think they get to 10 also.
Nice. Indianapolis Colts, 7.5 over under. Dutton.
Over.
Fee.
Under.
You got the Danny Dimes hate bent. That's why I got him going over.
Me too.
Jacksonville
Dude,
Jaguars.
you guys are crazy. And I can't wait to talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later. Go ahead.
We are.
We are.
Because I wrote down below. You guys are
We know.
crazy.
We know.
Jacksonville Jaguars 7.5. Dutton.
Under.
Fee.
Over.
I am
Fool.
under. I am
Fool's
not.
gold fee. It's fool's gold.
I'm
I
not.
don't know, man. I do not know. I think you.
Talk about it later.
All right, fine. All right.
That brings us to the Kansas City Chiefs. So obviously we're going to pause
Clean
here.
sweep.
It's a clean sweep. The Chiefs are at 11.5, and let's cut to the chase. All three of us said under. So let's talk a little bit about it. Fee, we'll go to you first. Why did you go under 11.5?
Just because I mean they'll probably have 10 or 11. I think for them to get to 12 wins is just kind of crazy. Especially I just don't know that they have the horses to do it. You know what I mean? uh guys are injured, guys are this, guys are that. I think there's a continuity problem there.
Hmm.
They did sign a couple of guys on defense, so their defense should still be pretty good. They got some new offensive linemen. I don't know. Travis Kelce's clearly dropped off. And I know that he's signed back on, and he's giving it another go, but he's not the same. Um, I don't know. I just think that they go under the 11 and a half.
Dutton.
They are in possibly the hardest division in the AFC,
Mhm.
and the Eagles exposed them in front of the world at the Super Bowl of how to beat them. It's to bully them at the line. And yeah, I mean, they're going to win 11 games, but that's under 11 and a half.
Yeah, well, let's not kid ourselves. The last 2 years, it's been the Chiefs' defense, right? Like Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes, but he just hasn't had the complementary weapons since Travis Kelce's still great, but he's not what he was, and that's not an insult to say that. The guy's 38 years old, right? Like he's good. But to Dutton's point about it being the hardest division, the Chiefs are still a great football team. But what happened was is the Chargers got way better this offseason. The Raiders still aren't good, but they're better, and Denver is going to be way better. And but so it's not that the Chiefs maybe got worse; they're still up here. But all the teams that they've been beaten on for the last few years down here are kind of now here.
It's the opposite of the Bills problem, right? In the fact that the Bills division is easy. So the pressure for the Bills is to just meet the expectations of winning the division. The pressure for the Chiefs is to win the division again because of how hard their division has got.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. That moves us to in division rivals, the Las Vegas Raiders, 7.5 wins. Fee
Under.
Dutton.
Better than last year, but under.
Yep, I have them at 7 wins, so they're better than last year, but under. The Chargers, this is a clean sweep. Fee, nine, oh, nine
Over.
and a half, 9.5. Fee,
Over.
Dutton,
Over.
clean sweep. Okay, so I highlighted the Rams. I feel like Fee always there's football goodness, fantasy football goodness on the Rams, and Fee has always been a closet Rams fan on the show. I really do. I feel like these, so I thought it would be a good one to highlight because I have some feelings on these Rams. Rams are also 9.5. So Fee, we will start with you because you do talk about the Rams quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm going over 9.5, and it's because I think they're an elite team. Getting Devontae Adams, I don't think that Devontae Adams is done by any means. I
No.
think he's a fantastic wide receiver. I think he's still got a lot left in the tank. You put him opposite Puka, who's obviously one of the top three receivers in the league currently. Kyron Williams is a fantastic running back. I know Stafford's old, but he's still slinging it, right? I mean, the guy still throws for 4,000 yards and more every year. And their defense, could be suspect, but they're going to be in a lot of shootouts. And I think that their offense is going to really kind of carry them this year. Um, and I think that they get over that 9.5 win total.
Dutton.
They're my sleeper Super Bowl pick. Like
Interesting.
think about the fact like they went toe to toe with the Eagles, and other than a missed snap at the end of the game, they probably could have possibly won that game in the playoffs, right? I mean, in the snow that nobody expected them to even be in.
Yeah.
And Fee, you mentioned their offense, and you missed one key component of that offense. It's led by Sean McVay, right? I mean, the
Yeah.
guy is phenomenal coach, and yeah, they could possibly win 11 or 12 games this year. Like 9.5, I think is like I'm not a betting person, but I would put money on 9.5 over. Like,
Yeah. Uh, it's funny that you said they're your sleeper for the Super Bowl because of my little notes here on the side for my side notes. I wrote, this feels like a Super Bowl or bust type of team. It's like to your point, Stafford's, I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's going in the Hall of Fame, and this is probably his last ride as a top tier quarterback. But then you look at it, and their backup quarterback is 33 years old. It's Jimmy G, right? Like this
right,
isn't a team that has like a guy in the wings, like a Jordan Love waiting. Like no,
right.
if Stafford goes down, they want someone that's going to put the metal pedal to the metal and take the team. So yeah, I think they win a lot of games. I'm going over 9.5 for the Rams as well. All right,
They
moving on.
wait, one more thing. Let's not forget they were literally one play away from
Yeah,
beating the Eagles in the
That's what I
NFC.
said. Yeah,
yeah,
they were one play game,
fun play.
one, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, it doesn't look like we disagree too much on the next few picks, but so let's zip through these. Miami Dolphins, 8.5. Fee,
Under.
Dutton.
Disaster.
Yeah, the
Under.
Dolphins are drowning and they can swim. Minnesota, 8.5. Dutton.
Under.
Under.
I went over. I think they get to 9, but that's a tough division, so I'm really torn
And
on
a
that
rookie
one.
quarterback,
Yeah,
really, when you think about it.
he is. No, he for sure. I get what you're saying. New England, 8.5. Why is it that high? They didn't improve that much. All three of us said
A
under.
lot of love in Drake May, but it's
I
under. They're
love
going to
Drake
be
May.
much improved. They're going to be improved, but they're 9 to go over. They have to win 9.
Nine times.
Under.
Yeah, all
Under.
three of us are under. I agree with you. They're going to be improved, but that's 6, 7 wins. It's not. New Orleans Saints 6.5. Way too high. Wait, that's my
2 wins. They have 2 wins.
uh, I see you're under as well.
Under.
I like this. Okay, we're gonna pause and talk about the G men for a little bit. Giants are at 5.5, and I want to hear Fee why you have your pick the way you have it.
So I took over 5.5. I think 5.5 is like very small amount of wins, right? And I think that it should be pretty easy for them. Not easy. Nothing's easy for the
There's a
Giants.
Giants fee.
But I know. But I feel like they can get to 6 wins or more for that matter. They don't have incompetent quarterback play anymore. Russ is an average quarterback. He'll be fine for them. He'll feed neighbors the ball. They have a good offense. There's a lot of talk about Scatabo now and Tyrone Tracy coming back. They have a good offense. As long as their offensive line is improved, which I'm hoping they are. And oh, by the way, they led the league in sacks last year,
Yeah,
and they just got Abdul Carter,
yeah,
and they signed a couple of secondary guys, a safety and a corner from the Saints, safety from the Dolphins.
yeah.
Their very good defense is getting better, and no one's really talking about them. No one has the Giants as a top 10 defense,
No,
which is kind of a little bit shocking to me, considering they led the league in sacks last year and they just got better. So I don't know. I think 5.5 is too low for them. I think they can get to 6 or 7 fairly easily. Wait,
Yeah.
nope, not easily. Not easily. Nothing's easy.
Let me tell you why I
Nothing's
picked over, because it's going to be the most giant type thing ever when Arch Manning announces in like November that he is coming out and this is it. And the Giants will be sitting on like 2 wins at that point, and then they'll go on like a 6-game win streak to end the season to make sure that there's no Arch Manning possibility of coming to the Giants. That's what they're.
Give a Zoom high five because that's the exact reason I have them getting to 6 wins is it's going to knock them out of the top 10 draft picks and ruin their building for the future.
It's going to be the ultimate Giant move of all time to somehow blow.
But I do agree with you, Fee. They are a team that got way better than they were.
And that's why, because
they're not in the Arch
sneaky
Manning
good.
sweepstakes. They're not as bad as like the 3 or 4 or 5 teams that are going to be worse than them this year.
Yeah.
Right.
They at best will have a 6
That's
or 7.
why they picked Jackson.
And so it won't even
they think
matter.
they
So
saw
it won't even matter at 6 or 7 or there's no difference between 6, 7 or 8, 9, 10. So
Yeah.
like it doesn't even matter.
Fair
You know,
enough.
they're not going to be a part of that anyway.
Yeah. Okay. The Jets. One of us disagrees. Dutton, what are you at? It's 5.5 for both New York teams are picked
Under.
to win 11 games this year combined.
Under.
Dutton under. Fee.
Yeah, I'm going over on this one too. It's because I think that Justin Fields ends up figuring something out between him and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. They got too many weapons on that offense for them not to win a few games. And I know a few is less than 5.5, but I think that somehow they figure out getting to 6.
I think they get to 5. I'm going under. Obviously, Philadelphia is one of the 11.5 over under teams. We got to talk about the reigning champs. Dutton, what do you have? 11.5 for the Eagles.
I have over 12-5. There you go. I mean, I think they're solid. They're going to lose 1 or 2 games that we're going to hear about from all the Philly friends out there that they shouldn't have lost. And, last year was the Bucs game they shouldn't have lost. And, but yeah, they're going to lose 1 or 2 games, and then there'll be 1 or 2 games that are close and comes down. But they're 12-5. They're going to win their division. Over.
Fee.
Yeah, I got them over. I think they'll go like 13-4, actually. They're too good. They're too good. There's no reason for them not to kind of run the table here again this year.
Yeah, and they didn't get better because they didn't have to, because almost everyone's back, right? It's not like they had to go
Right.
rebuild or
They
restructure.
didn't have to do much.
Yeah, I'm going over as well. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I figured we'll get to them a little bit later in the show. So they're 8.5 fee.
Over.
Dutton.
Under.
I know we're going to talk about that later, so we'll keep moving on. I'm still going over. I think it's the easiest bet in football because Mike Tomlin doesn't have losing seasons.
That's
Mhm.
exactly why I'm going over.
Wait until I tell you why.
San Francisco, 10.5. You two are over. I am under. I'm curious as to why. Dutton, let Fee get his drink. You go ahead.
I don't know. For some reason, I feel like the 49ers are going to sneak up on people. I feel like the Rams and the 49ers we're going to be at the end of the season like, oh my God, these two teams are really good. And we're going to be watching a Sunday night game in December between them. That's a shootout or something. So, yeah, I don't know. Jimmy, what's his face? Got his money. Brock got his money. He's happy. So, yeah.
Fee?
Yeah, I have San Fran going over also. I think that people are they're so down on San Francisco that I think they're too far down.
Mm.
And they still have a lot of solid guys. I know there's some um issues, drama in San Francisco between Juwan Jennings and Ayuk and everybody else, but we're forgetting they're still solid players and they're still all going to play. Like Dutton said, Purdy got his money, still a solid quarterback. Christian McCaffrey coming back off of injury. If he doesn't get injured again, he'll run roughshod through the NFL again, like he always does. Let's not forget about George Kittle, one of the best tight ends in the league right now. Still got Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall will be year two, and Ayuk will be coming back off that knee injury, right? So I think people are just a little too down on San Francisco, so that's why I got him going over.
All right, fair. I don't think they are as in big. I agree with you, Fee. I think the alarm is being rung a little too loudly for what really happened there. But they did lose some pieces. And I also think we just talked about the Rams being this 12 or 13 win team. Are we talking about one division having a 13 win team and an 11 win team? I don't know that could happen. So I have them getting to 10 wins and under. Um, Seattle, 7.5 fee.
Under.
Dutton,
Feisty under.
I am under as well. Sam Darnold, you're welcome.
Hmm.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 9.5. This is a clean sweep, so we'll let Dutton tell us why.
Over their
Half-
division. It's their division. I mean, they should seriously go an easily 5-1, if not 6-0 in their division, right? I mean, so there's 6 wins or 5 wins I'll give them right there. And then they got to pull off 5 more wins. You say they play the AFC East, which means they play the Dolphins and the Jets and the Patriots, right? So in that case, their hardest game is the Bills. I know that's in Buffalo, so I would chalk up a loss there, but I already got them to 8 wins. So I'm going over.
A fee.
Yeah, I'm going over also for Tampa.
Yeah, I am too. Tennessee Titans, 5.5. It's a clean sweep. We all went under. They're just not ready, right? But I
Worst
think
team in
Cam Ward's
football.
going to be decent. I do think he's going to be decent. I don't think he's going to be a train wreck. And we'll close it out by talking about the Washington Commanders, 9.5. Fee, you hate all teams NFC East that aren't the Giants, so you have enough faith in them to go over 9.5.
I do. I mean, listen, Washington is one of the better teams in the league. I think that should be fairly easy for them to get to 10 wins and go 10-7 for sure. But I feel like they should be an even better team than that. They got a lot of good pieces. I think they just continue to build around Jaden Daniels, and I think that they're good enough to get to 10 or even 11 wins this year.
Dutton.
Yeah, I mean, Jaden Daniels is already considered a top 10 quarterback, and he's ranked higher than the guy who won the Super Bowl in his own division. So, yeah, I mean, I think at 9.5, I think they go over. They'll beat the Giants and the Cowboys both times they play them. So there's 4.
I
So,
mean, so I have them going over too. So what we're saying on this show is that I'm sorry, the NFC East is going to have two 11 plus win teams. And we're saying the NFC,
No, 10, because if the Washington wins 10, they can
oh,
win
10,
10.
10. Okay, so two 10 plus win teams, and the NFC, what do they,
West.
no, West is going to
Yeah.
have two 10, probably two 11 win teams, is what the consensus pick was on this show. So
Hmm.
that means the rest, like the Lions are going to win 11 games. That means the
It's
rest of
going to be hard. Like,
really
think about it.
big.
I got Detroit going under.
The NFC is going to be hard to make the playoffs this year
It
because
is.
think about what you just said and what we're talking about, right? I mean, we already said Tampa's going to have 10 or 11 wins. We gave, Philadelphia, Washington, San Francisco, LA, probably Green Bay, Detroit. I mean, there's 8 teams right there. And
Yeah.
that's not a sneaky team that's going to sneak up on people out of nowhere like Washington did last year, right? So, like, yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. That was all 30 teams. We did that. That was pretty quick. It wasn't too long.
Mm-mm.
Let's move on. We're gonna swing through these last three questions. When we did our first show way back in April, the draft was actually happening. So let's flash forward now that the people have been drafted, and let's look at 5 rookies that each one of us love. Um, First, Fee, a question to you: is there any rookie this year that is first round worthy for you?
Well,
We could do a 12-team league. I know we're a 10-team league. That makes it
if
harder for a rookie to go.
yeah, if there's one, it's Ashton Genty for sure. Uh,
100%.
that's it. That he'd be the only one, and even that is kind of iffy. I'm not sure. I know that he's going what RB3 now, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
something like that.
So I mean that technically is a first round running back.
Bijan Robinson from what, 3 years ago?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he could be. I mean, listen. I mean, everything you hear about him is fantastic. So, um, he's gonna get fed the rock for sure. I mean, he's
yeah,
gonna be a workhorse for the Raiders, right? Um, so I think that he could be very good for fantasy. So, yeah, I mean, he'd be the only first round running back or first round rookie that I'd be willing to take.
Dutton. Anyone else for you?
No, he's the only one I would consider taking in the
Yeah,
first round. Um, there's others I'd consider taking later round, and some I might grab a little bit earlier, depending on, what happens preseason here with injuries and such. But in terms of first round, it's only him.
yeah, yeah. What do you? So who is someone you would jump on early, Dutton? Like a rookie?
I really think it's important to pay attention to Chris Godwin and what's happening with him because if Chris Godwin is not going to be back, and I don't think he's going to be back for the first 3 weeks of the season. I don't. I think that injury was gross, and I think he's going to be back this year, but I think he's going to miss the first 3. So then Emeka Egbuka, I mean, why wouldn't you go after him if he's going to fill the Chris Godwin role with
Yeah,
the way Baker slings it around there? That's someone I would target in like a 7th, 8th round, maybe.
yeah, yeah. Sure. Fee, what about you? Who else would you go after early?
Uh, early.
Yeah, not like first round, but like you.
I do like Amari and Hampton a lot.
It's a good
Uh,
one.
I think he's going to be solid with the Chargers. And but I don't know how early, right? I mean, maybe third-ish.
Yeah, that's early. Yeah,
Yeah,
anything for around 5, I would consider early.
Right.
yeah, he might be like fourth round, maybe between third and fourth. Probably more like fourth, actually. Um, but he's like a downhill runner. He's a workhorse, right?
Yeah,
Um, and yes, he's playing with Najee Harris, but I guess it just matters whether or not Najee Harris has an eye or
Najee
not.
Harris, he's got the eye issue. I mean, Like, well, did nobody learn? Jason Pierre-Paul literally tweeted the day before and said, "Guys, be careful."
yeah. That he had what did they call it? They didn't call it an injury. What did they call it?
No, they said, yeah,
I
it was
don't know.
weird. It was the
It's a
way they
weird
worded it.
word. But yeah, he blew himself up on the 4th of July. Uh, I really like, and Fee, you had mentioned him earlier, McMillan in the Panthers wide receiver room. I'm not saying like super early, but I would pick him like 4th or 5th round, I think. I really do think he's fun to watch. I do like Hampton. I agree with you on Hampton. I think the question mark is what kind of league you're in and what happens with offensive defensive points, because that changes to Travis Hunter and that puts him into second round, maybe even first. Like
I
right,
mean,
you have
that's the question, right? Like, so I don't play fantasy baseball, but I hear people complain about it all the time because of Shohei. And
Right.
we know about what's his face, our least favorite tight end on the Saints,
Oh,
uh,
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill. Like, so if you draft Travis Hunter, but you also have individual defensive, can you play him at both positions in a weekend? Probably not, right? Like you have to pick where you're playing.
Right. But I think a lot of leagues are just saying, because it's never happened before, that they're creating interception points. They're creating a tackle point, and
For him.
because now
So like, so like he
and
can
now
have like,
the Packers are saying Anthony Belton, who they drafted, is probably going to play a lot of defensive back as well. So now we have to ask ourselves, is there a rule change coming in fantasy? And it's obviously not going to happen this year for every league. But imagine if you got a point, even if you're not an IDP, but just because this is the way some players are going to play the game, if you get a point for a sack and 2 points for an interception and stuff like that, Travis Hunter might be up, maybe a first rounder, maybe probably a second
like
rounder.
right, because he can end up with 6 receptions for 82 yards and a touchdown and 4 tackles and an interception, and you're just rushing points.
He had like a 30-point day. It's ridiculous. So, Fee, I see you have one of the guys I'm really interested in. He's going to be a high volume guy for sure. And he did not blow himself up on July 4th, luckily for the Steelers. But I do like Caleb Johnson. He's probably at number 6 for me, and that's why he didn't make my list. Tell me what do you like about Caleb Johnson?
Well, I think he's just another workhorse back.
Yeah.
And you know how Pittsburgh loves to run the ball, and I think they're going to continue to do that, even with Rodgers there. And I just think that he's going to be a really solid. He's a good receiver, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So I think that he's going to be a really solid running back for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, see, I'm in Scott Fish Bowl. Once again, I was in Scott Fish Bowl 15. I was at the live Atlanta draft, and I took him, I think, 6th round. And one of the reasons I took him is what you said, is you get a half a point per carry in that league because they want to reward volume running backs and give them a little extra bonus. And I think I get, 5 or 6 points on carry, 10, 11 carries a game easy. So I'm getting 5 or 6 points just from him touching the football. Never
Right.
mind anything else he does. So I do like him. Dutton, you have quite a few. Run down your list. You have quite a few interesting ones. Isn't one in jail?
Who
Judkins.
Yeah,
is he in jail?
Well, I
Is
don't
he
know
the
if
one? Yeah, I don't know. I think he had a mishap with the law. I don't know. My big one, I think, is Matthew Golden. If he has him too, I think he has a big year. I think that Packers wide receiver room is really interesting. It's the youngest wide receiver room in football. And I mean, imagine being Aaron Rodgers watching the Packers. They drafted like 3 wide receivers this draft. Like they didn't draft any wide receivers the entire time he was there, I felt like.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a big year for Jordan Love. Wayne and I've talked about this, and I think Matthew Golden plays into that. So watch out for him.
I don't know that I think it's a big year for Jordan Love. We'll talk about that later. Uh, yeah,
I think it's an important year for him.
it's an important year. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying in terms of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Fee, I see you have RJ Harvey like myself. What makes you? I mean, I know I like him. What makes you like him?
Well, I like him because he's basically the number one back with the Broncos. And, you got Sean Payton, who's fantastic offensive mind. And I think that he's going to get a ton of volume. I know that J.K. Dobbins is there, but I'm not scared of him at all. And I think that, RJ Harvey's a rookie, but he does everything. He does everything out of the backfield, catches balls. He's running it, however, 15, 20 times a game. And I think that the Broncos offense is going to be very, very good. And so he's going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, it was really the one missing piece from that offense last year, right? Like they had marginal running backs at best, I would call them. Javonte Williams is decent.
Gone. But he's gone.
I'm just talking about last year's backfield. Jaleel McLaughlin, marginal at best. So now, yeah. I mean, so now you have a legitimate running back there. I think that Sean Payton offense. I mean, I would draft him first 6 rounds. I think I would gamble on him because he's going to be the number one back, easy. Where would you pick Golden, Dutton?
I think he is probably like eighth, ninth round, maybe. I
Okay.
think, middle rounds there because, there's a lot of questions there. I mean, like I said, when I said big year for Jordan, I think it's a big year to answer a lot of questions of like, were you hurt last year? Is that why you didn't perform as everyone expected you to? And they invested in supporting you, so you got to answer that, right? And I mean, that guy is a speedster. He's got hands. Like, yeah, I mean, I've already seen like three clips of him catching passes and like informal workouts, and the Packers were going nuts because it was like having Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams back there. So,
So Ashton Genty, Amari Hampton, Matthew Golden, and RJ Harvey got at least 2 votes from the three of us. So those are 4 of the 5 rookies we love. And then you heard us break down a few others.
right.
But those would be the consensus of the 4 of the 5. I think there's a lot of good names on that list. And I
Yeah,
think,
and I didn't put Genty just because you guys both had him, but he would have been my first one. But
yeah,
I was like, that's just too obvious,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah. All right, let's move on to other new faces, but these are veteran new faces, just under center for a different team. Well, let's look at which quarterback got the best landing spot. We're going to look at Aaron Rodgers, Russ Wilson, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Danny Dimes, and Joe Flacco. Woohoo! We gotta throw Joe Flacco in there. Dutton, you've been wanting. I could see you shaking. You want to talk about this since we sat down.
I think this is it. I think the ultimate end to what could have been one of the greatest NFL careers is going to end in a dumpster fire is going to be when the Steelers finish 8-9 and it is the first losing season for Mike Tomlin, and people are going to be like, "Thank you, Aaron Rodgers. Thank you. Thank you. You couldn't even do like they handed you a coach who's never had a losing season and you blew it." So I don't know. I just think he's going to be 42 this year. He's not the same 42 that Tom Brady was when he won the Super Bowl with the Bucks. Like I don't know. Yeah, I don't buy into it. I don't think Pittsburgh is going to tolerate Aaron Rodgers nonsense very long. They're well high IQ'd football fan base, and they're not going to tolerate his nonsense. He held them hostage all spring about what he played for them anyway.
Yeah,
Aaron, it's the Steelers. Shut up and go play for the Steelers.
yeah.
So yeah, 8-9, here it comes.
Fee?
No, I disagree. I disagree. I listen, he's average at best, and he's not going to be winning a Super Bowl with Pittsburgh for sure. But I still think that he gets them to probably 9-8 and possibly even 10 wins. There's too many good players on the Steelers for them not to be a winning team. Their defense is still outstanding. They just gave TJ Watt a bajillion dollars. Um, and their offense is still very good. I know they gave up George Pickens, but that was probably a good thing, getting rid of kind of a headache in the locker room, right? You grab DK Metcalf now, who yeah, he's not like a game-changing type of receiver, but he's still really, really good. And you have some really good running backs, right? Which is what I think Pittsburgh kind of wants to do, right? They probably want to run the ball more often than not, especially now with a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers. I just think there's too many good players on that team and too much good coaching for them not to win 9 or 10 games this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. They I think it's 9 wins. I don't think they have Mike Tomlin's first losing record though. But the interesting thing to me, and Dutton and I spoke about this a couple days ago. He has 2 of the best tight ends in football, and he's a traditionally, tight ends have not. He's had a few flourish underneath him, but most guys were the Bubba Franks 2 receptions, 2 touchdowns, 4 yards type of days. You know what I mean? And he's got 2 playmakers in Jonnu Smith and Freiermuth at tight end. So it'll be interesting because both tight ends are better than any secondary option. Isn't Robert Woods slated in as their wide receiver
Three.
2 and wide receiver 3? But he's like,
Calvin Austin is there too right
yeah,
now.
oh yeah, that's right. So I think Rodgers is going to be good enough. I think they'll push for the playoffs like they always do. But yeah, they're definitely not winning a Super Bowl. He's not that answer. Fee, we'll go to you, Russell Wilson.
Yeah, okay. Uh, so
He said, "Yeah,
th
okay."
this is a good spot. This is a good spot for Russ. They have that. Listen, the Giants have good receivers. One of the best in neighbors, I think.
Yeah,
And then Darius Slayton has not been used very well
He's
recently,
good.
and he's a lot better than people think that he is. And
I
I
love
think
Slayton.
that he'll get it unlocked a little bit. Wan'Dale Robinson has always been a really good slot receiver.
Very good.
Um, and I think I know you guys here have other quarterbacks that are on the Giants roster, and I get that. But I think that Russ plays the whole year, unless he gets hurt. Um, if he gets hurt, then I think Jameis comes in. I really think that they want to sit Jackson Dart the entire year, which I think is probably the smart move.
Dutton.
I agree with the last thing Fiamano said, that they probably want to sit Jackson Dart the whole year, except when that MetLife Stadium is chanting, we want Dart," and they're 1-7 or whatever it is. Yes, you're gonna get. I wrote right there, Jackson Dart week 7, because you're gonna start 1-5 or something. So
I just think he's a Jameis placeholder. I think like you said, he is going to get hurt. He's old. Russ misses a couple games here and there. I think Jameis comes in one week when he's hurt, throws the ball 300 yards to Malik Neighbors, and we never see Russell Wilson again in the Giants uniform. Like I just think that's the way it is. Sam Darnold went to the Seahawks. Fee, what do you think about Sam Darnold?
I think he comes back down to earth this year.
Yep, not a great spot. Dutton.
wow, we want Jalen week 5. Jalen Milrow.
Yeah. Uh, let's move on to Geno Smith, reunited, right? Isn't he reunited with what's his name? Why am I
Yeah.
blank? Pete Carroll, right?
Pete Carroll,
Yeah.
correct.
So he's reunited there. And Dutton, what do you think?
I love it. I think he's going to a literally plug and play offense, right? The Raiders have surrounded whoever was going to be their quarterback, and they knew they didn't have the best of options, right? They flirted with Rodgers like everyone did, I guess. But I like it. Solid tight end, solid wide receivers, solid running back, and Gino played well last year. I mean, yeah, I love it. I think it's great. I think it's a perfect place for him.
It looks like we all agree on this one. Fee, go on, put your comments
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, no, I think that it's a really good pickup for the Raiders. He's a solid quarterback. He played well for Seattle, and he's going to do the same for Vegas. I mean, they have a lot of really good offensive weapons on that team, and I know because they've been so bad that people kind of sleep on that, but they're going to have a pretty good offense. I don't know how the defense will be. They may not have a very good team, but they're going to put up some points this year.
Yeah, I think of this list that we're discussing, I think Gino is the one I would draft the highest of everyone we're discussing on this
Hmm.
list. Jacoby Myers, when healthy, is a great number one. Brock Bowers is the best tight end in fantasy football. We said we have no idea, but the three of us are very high on Ashton Genty, as is everybody else in pretty much fantasy football.
Yep.
Uh, so you got three huge playmakers. The wide receiver room is a little shallow, but
Right.
well, we'll see. They got someone consistently throwing them. Think about how many quarterbacks they've had in the last 2 years. So
Right.
you'll see how some of these guys could do. All right. So Fee, you're going to go last on this one. Dutton, you have Daniel Jones, who went to the Colts, even though we know he's going to start well, we don't know, but it looks like it's trending that he's going to start at least week 1, 2, and 3. Dutton, what do you feel about it?
You see what I have there. He's going to be the comeback player of the year in the NFL. He is going to a situation where there's no pressure on him. Nobody's expecting anything from him. We just need you to hold this place for Anthony Richardson, except Indianapolis is going to fall in love with Danny Dimes the first 3 weeks. And they already had questions about Anthony Richardson, and we're not going to see him. And I'm telling you, the talk of the town this year is going to be Danny Dimes.
Yeah, look, we give Fee credit for being on Jaden Daniels when he was still in college, saying that he was going to change a team, right? I've also been off of Anthony Richardson before he came. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. When they drafted him, you were like, what? So
I get he's a playmaker. He plays too hard. He doesn't slide. He's an injury prone guy because he forces the injuries upon him, and his accuracy is a nightmare.
Don't forget he tapped out of a game too. Let's
He
remember.
tapped out of a game when, yeah. Uh, if Daniel Jones isn't good in the environment he's in right now, then we know he's not good.
Right.
Because when a healthy Michael Pittman's a true number one NFL number one receiver, right? I think Josh Downs is great out of the slot and is going to be even better this year. Everyone loves the Tyler Warren kid at tight end. They think he's going to be like a top 10 fantasy tight end as a rookie. And you have a premier running back behind him, right? And this is a not like a Michael Vick, but he's still a running quarterback when the 10-yard line doesn't get in his way. So having a Jonathan Taylor is going to make his running game back, bring it back to the way it was with the Giants. I think if he has, this is a good Daniel
Baker Mayfield. Think Baker Mayfield,
Yes,
right?
a
Think
great
Baker Mayfield
situation.
failed in Cleveland, showed up in LA. Danny went to Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? This could be it. This
Yeah,
could be it.
I think he's in a great position. Fee, you hate him.
It's not that I hate him, and as a matter of fact, you guys have made some excellent points where I kind of maybe second guess my decisions here. But here's the thing. I always come back to the fact that he's never been able to push the ball down the field. And he's not really a very good quarterback necessarily, right? Yeah, he can run the ball. He might be very good at an RPO. He's probably way better than Anthony Richardson. I will give him that. Um, the fact that he actually has a really good offense around him is what's really helping him a lot. But I still don't think he's a very good quarterback. And it may look like he's playing well, and I think it's going
It'll
to be
look like he's playing
I,
well, but
I think it's going to be a big kind of thing about all the guys around him. I still don't know. Their running game will probably be very good. I still don't know. They're not going to be able to push the ball down the field. Like they don't have those type of receivers. Like there's nobody taking the top off the defense. Michael Pittman is not that guy.
No, no, no.
He doesn't have that kind of speed.
no, he's Mike
Josh Downs is a slot guy. He may be very good, but he's still a slot guy. And then you got Alec Pierce, who's like, okay, but they're not going to push the ball down the field, and no one's going to be scared of that. They're going to have the same. The only difference between the Colts and the Giants is their offensive line.
Yeah.
That's the really big difference. The Colts have a top five offensive line, and it's going to make a big difference, and it's going to help their running game. But the problem is that that defenses are going to stack the box against them, and they're not going to be scared of them throwing the ball down the field.
Fair enough. Yeah, so we're definitely gonna revisit this like
we're keeping an eye on Daniel Jones, friends.
different quarters of the season. Daniel Jones is gonna be one of the runners.
Listen, I'm not saying he's going to be bad. I just said
All right.
that
The last quarterback we're gonna discuss is Joe Flacco on the Browns. Fee.
University of Delaware, baby. Woo!
Yeah,
Joe Flacco.
I mean, let's be honest. This is literally the Joe Flacco like legend season, right? Like if he wins 5 games with the Browns, cement him as a legend in Cleveland football, right?
The fact that they have 4 quarterbacks is just crazy.
yeah.
Well, actually, isn't it 5? Don't they have 5?
Yes, they have
John
so many.
Watson is still technically a quarterback on the team.
Right, so you got to count him. So they really have like 5. They got
I
Flacco,
think
they
he's
got
going to do a
Pickett,
really good job mentoring whatever rookie quarterback they decide to go to in week 8.
Dylan Gabriel. They drafted 2 quarterbacks, so you can't
That's
even
what I'm saying.
you can't even
Right.
cut those guys. Like
No.
Dylan Gabriel and Shador Sanders are going to be on the team.
Right.
So you have 4 quarterbacks. Like that's I don't know, it's crazy, but like there's nothing else you can really do.
Yeah. All right. Ready? I think this was a good debate right here to close out the show. This question I'm going to ask because this is our 6th season, so we have watched. The 3 of us have watched many seasons of fantasy football together, but closely together, the 3 of us have watched for 5 full seasons. Who is the most underperforming team in the NFL? Maybe not even over that span if you want to take it back even a little longer. But so who is one of the more underperforming teams, at least of the last 5 years of our show, but as long as you want to talk about it. And you could talk about this from both an NFL and a fantasy perspective. When I talk about mine, I'm going to be heavier on, I think it's a nice blend of both. So, Dutton, let's start with you.
I tried to do a blend, and I looked at the caliber of players you had on your team in terms of fantasy rankings over 5 years, and then your production level. And I came to one solid answer. The Jacksonville Jaguars have completely failed fantasy owners over the last 5 years.
They really have. That's
When
a
you
good
think
one.
about the level of talent that you see on that team, Etienne, Trevor Lawrence, the wide receivers that were in and out of, like, and yet every year we talk about, oh, Trevor Lawrence just doesn't look like the guy, and oh, Travis Etienne does not make the grade that we thought. I'm sorry. I was trying to find other teams. I started with the Jaguars. I went everywhere else, and I literally came back to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're just a disappointing fantasy and NFL franchise. Like, because every year they get their fan base excited. Like, this is it. We're going to turn the corner. They
No, you're
haven't.
right. Travis Hunter, they traded away 15 years worth of
Right. Right. I mean, think of how drastic they had to make this draft to get their fan base excited about this team.
Yeah, you're right. Fee, you have a list of teams over here. So
So I kind of misunderstood the question. I thought that you were asking about the most underperforming team that we think is going to be this year, this upcoming year, not the previous five.
Okay.
However, I do have an answer for this question, and they kind of go both hand in hand. And I actually I'm going to choose two of the four that I listed. The first one's going to be Dallas. Okay, I think both real wise and fantasy wise have just been
They're on my list.
a major disappointment. I mean, Dallas hasn't made the playoffs in what, like 20 years or something, right? Like something crazy. Um,
one a playoff.
but they always
Been
have
two, but it's okay.
but they always have a good team, right? They always have a great team. Like, oh, Dak is good. Dak is the guy. He's gonna lead us to CeeDee Lamb, one of the best receivers ever, like, or not ever, but like one of the best receivers in the game right now. And then, like, they had a good offensive line, probably not so much anymore.
Heard
They
Ferguson.
had a good running game, probably not so much anymore. Um, and they've always had a good defense, or used to, and they do have some solid guys. Michael Parsons, probably one of the best defenders in the game right now.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they can never put it together, right? The guys come and go, and even fantasy wise, it's just been kind of like blah. CeeDee Lamb, yes, has been great for fantasy, but other than that, it's kind of been a wasteland, right?
Yeah.
And the other team I wanted to talk about real quick is the Chargers.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's because of Justin Herbert and the kind of everything kind of been put on him to be such a good player. And I think that he is a really good quarterback, but especially now with Harbaugh as the coach, they always want to run the ball. And even in the years before Harbaugh, they should have had they had always had some very good receivers, right? And they just never really were very good, fantasy or a real team. In the past 5 years anyway, for sure.
So here's my thoughts on the Cowboys. The Cowboys are not my answer, but and here's why, right? Okay, so fantasy football has been around for like 60 years, right? Like it technically started in the 1960s, but like the real boom when fantasy football became fantasy football was like the 95 to 2000, right? That's when we started and there was one magazine you can get, and by 99 there was like five different magazines, and
then
CBS
15
was
websites and
right. And CBS, ESPN, and Yahoo are hosting massive amounts of. Remember, like when we started fantasy, we had to write things down. Now all of a sudden you have websites,
Newspaper,
yeah, right, going through
box score.
And so when that fantasy boom hit, it was our age, our generation, and the Cowboys were the team to beat, right? But when the calendar turned to 2000, the Cowboys really have not been a relevant Super Bowl contender. I mean, well, I guess they're contenders because the media always hypes them up that way, but like they legitimately have not come close to that Super Bowl. So are they underachieving, or are we just overestimating and overvaluing the Cowboys over the last 20 years because of the age group of people that started this fantasy boom to where it got to today? And I think that's what it is. I think because of, and I hate to say it, it's kind of the Yankees, right? The Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009, but they're always in the top five odds to win the World Series. But why? Right? Like, why? So Dutton, I know you're going to disagree, and Fee, you probably will too. But my answer for the most underachieving team since we started this podcast specifically, just since we started, is the Green Bay Packers. And I don't think Jordan Love is it. He's certainly not Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you're talking about two of the greatest in the game. They right now, and part of the problem is maybe the rookie will come through, Golden, that you guys are talking about, but they don't have an alpha dog in that wide receiver room. Like when I look at this team, who are you jumping to draft early on in fantasy football this year? And I know you're going to say Josh Jacobs, but the last time Josh Jacobs carried the ball for 300 times in a season, like he did last year, was in 2022. He led the league in rushing, and everyone thought he was going to the next best thing, and he was injured the whole next year, right? Like this is history repeats itself for a reason. So there isn't really a guy that I want to go that like there is not a Green Bay Packer that is high on my list to draft in fantasy football, and I kind of got burned by having a Jaden Reed on my draft board so high last year, and that guy stunk, right? And since 2020, when we started the show, they're 2-4 in the playoffs, right? Like real life, it's kind of like to your points, you guys both said it in the over-under. The Packers are always going to be a favorite because the Packers, from day one of the NFL, are like arguably one of the top three. They are the top three franchises of all time. They're always going to be, but why? You know, like so they're underperforming to me only in the time range of the show that we.
Here's my one thing I'll counter you with. I think there's a lot of recency bias in your argument.
Sure.
You factor in 2020, 2021, Aaron Rodgers was still throwing to Devontae Adams. And so fantasy wise, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying if we're combining both of them, I agree with you, everything on playoffs and all of that. But if we're going fantasy wise, 2020, 2021, even 2022, really, Packers fantasy wise were decent. Yeah, you were drafting Devontae Adams high, right? You were going. So that's my only argument. Everything else, I agree with what you're saying. And Fee, same thing with your Chargers argument, because I could counter you with Austin Eckler 2020, 2021 on the Chargers, right?
The number 1 through 5 RB that year,
Right. So that's my only thing is don't get boggled down in the recency bias. Very good arguments, but just remember that. That's all.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, last year there was really Josh Jacobs was a fantasy star. Right. That's not fair, but there were really
won a championship for the Tomcats. That's right.
Yeah, but do you trust them this year?
No, not even trying to pick.
So it's weird that we're talking about a team that doesn't have anyone you really want to go after before the 8th round of a fantasy draft, unless you want to reach on Golden. But that's a big unknown, right?
I mean, Josh Jacobs is going to be picked in the top.
He is, but I don't want
4 rounds. But you're gonna regret picking him too early this year, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Or maybe you're not. But that's the beauty of fantasy, gentlemen. Anything else we need to discuss? Have we got it all covered?
We're good. We'll be back in 2 weeks? Hard Knocks, the Bills, Wayne's new favorite quarterback, Josh Allen. Everyone heard him talk about it tonight.
Let's not go that far, everybody. Well, go ahead, Pete.
No, I was going to say your guy's new favorite quarterback is Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Really?
Anytime.
You know what we didn't mention? Other than Dutton talking about him with Daniel Jones, which is just blasphemy, by the way.
Because here we go, Fee. Say his name. You love him.
Baker. Come on.
Dutton and I are keeping Baker over Jordan Love.
That's right, Wayne. Tell the audience out there.
Daniel Jones, you guys are absolutely out of your minds.
Summer
heat. It's the summer heat.
It is hot down here.
It is. Daniel Baker. I said Daniel Jones. No, Baker Mayfield. You've thrown out all these names of me. Baker Mayfield, we're keeping him over Jordan Love. I think it's a no-brainer, and that goes back to the conversation I was just having.
Right. No, for sure there. Shout out to my new friend I met in the LaGuardia airport 2 weeks ago who needed a fantasy magazine, and I told him to listen to 3 and Out. Wish I got his name, but shout out to my new buddy. He's going into 6th grade. Good luck in middle school, my friend.
Nice.
Leave it in the comments below.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks for tuning in.